All right. Well, hi, everybody. I'm Lydia Middleton. I'm your executive director. I always enjoy the opportunity to talk to you all at the annual meeting, and I'm really thrilled that we're doing this annual meeting on the first day of, or this business meeting on the first day of the annual meeting instead of the last, because this way I can answer all of your questions before you ask them. And hopefully you'll proceed through the meeting knowing everything you need to know about how things are at ASIS&T. My job is really to report to you on the state of the association, on what we've done in the last 12 months, what we have planned for the next 12 months, a bit beyond what Crystal has shared and Ian has shared, and from a more operational perspective from the staff point of view. So let me tell you a little bit about where we stand today. We are currently a membership of 2,137 members. By way of context, when I joined ASIS, which was about 7 years ago, we had about 1,200 members. So this is a much better number. And compared to where we were on this day a year ago, we have about 67 more members than we did a year ago. You'll be familiar with the fact that we go through an annual renewal process so that on the 15th of July, 600 people don't renew their membership, and our membership goes from 2,400 down to 1,800, and we have to build our way back up again. And so being 67 ahead of where we were this time last year is actually quite good news. So we're very excited about that. It means our trends are going up, which they have been for the last couple of years. So that's really terrific. And just if you're curious where those people come from, this is the answer to that. We've actually seen a bit of a shift. When I reported to you a year ago, we were at 49% North America, and the remainder everywhere else. We shifted up in North America just a little bit. Part of the reason for that is that as our tier 2 members, which are complimentary memberships for 2 years, unfortunately, many of them cannot continue on with a paid membership after the 2 years. We do offer scholarships to most of those that ask us for it. But those numbers do start to dwindle. So I think that's the reason for this very slight shift in balance. But as you can see, we're still very sort of balanced between 50-ish% North America and 50-ish% outside of North America, with South Asia being our biggest chunk of members. Again, those fall into many of them into the tier 2 membership category. We're very excited about the growth in the Middle East. That has happened largely as a result of strong work by SIG-III and the Middle East chapter. So lots of kudos to them. And you'll see our Latin American number, which is still really tiny, is actually showing up on the graph, which it wouldn't have done last year. So we're getting there. We're getting there with that. And so we're really, really pleased with the global reach of the association and the engagement from our non-North American members, which has been just tremendous for year over year, but in the last year especially. Back to our numbers. Annual meeting registration, we had about 475 registrants. Unfortunately, we'll probably only have about 450 people here. Lots of folks had a hard time getting a visa to come into Canada. And so that is something we'll be looking at as we make selections about future meeting venues, is what are the current visa issues and how difficult is it going to be for some of our members that are coming from the areas that had a hard time this year getting into Canada, making sure that those pathways are open for folks. We did everything we could this year to make it easy enough for people to get visas, but we cannot control what the Canadian Border Patrol opts to do. So that was somewhat out of our hands. As always, member engagement is incredibly important to us. We cannot do anything that we do at ASIS without the active engagement of many volunteers. And so as you can see, 32% of our membership have some role in volunteering for the association, whether it's serving on a committee or a jury or the board, or reviewing papers for JASIST or articles for ARIST, or annual meeting, many annual meeting proposals. So we just have a tremendous workforce of people that help us do what we do every year. As Crystal mentioned, lots of webinars this year, 38 of them all together. So that was really tremendous, more than one every couple of weeks. And 2,352 registrations. That's not necessarily 2,352 people, because we have some people that go to every single webinar we offer. They're real loyalists. But we're reaching a lot of people, and we're excited by that. And we're always on the lookout for new webinars. It is a very great pathway to present with ASIS, and it's very easy to go online and submit a proposal for a webinar. So we encourage you to think about that. Crystal talked about our meetings this year. The Idea Institute was sort of an outside of the box, new, exciting event. Huge thanks. I haven't seen him here yet, but Civic Gosh did just tremendous work making that happen with his team. And so big thank you to all of you that worked on that. Several regional meetings put on by chapters. So Europe, Asia, and the ASIS. If I forgot anybody, I apologize. But then, as Crystal said, lots of other chapter events and SIG events. We'll recognize a couple of those tomorrow night at the banquet. Our Research Engagement Committee continues to support the delivery of research symposia. So the one this year took place in Amsterdam. And was available both virtually and in person. So that was a terrific event. And then Crystal talked about the president's lecture, but it was really rewarding. We had about 140 people online. It's the most people we've ever had in a Zoom room. I can't tell you how many times I paid for the extra capacity in a Zoom room that we've never needed. And so it was really exciting to have that happen this time. And then finally, we added a new award this year, and that's the Research Impact Award. Huge thank you to Rutgers University that has sponsored that award in a big way. If anybody else, yes, thank you, Rutgers. If any, we have all kinds of awards that need sponsorship. So if any other institutions are interested in stepping up to sponsor existing awards, we'd really like to sponsor the ones we already have. But if not, if you want to talk about a new award, we're happy to talk about that as well. But the Research Impact Award will get awarded tomorrow night, and I think everybody knows who's getting it, so I'll keep my mouth shut. But come tomorrow night to celebrate that along with all the rest of the award winners. Carry on. This is not new this year. Well, maybe the Welcome Wednesday is. Lifetime membership I talked about last year at the annual meeting. We debuted it last year. Anybody that's been a dues paying member of ASIS for more than 30 years becomes a lifetime member, and they never pay dues again. So as long as you have, it doesn't even have to be continuous, although we prefer it, membership for 30 years. You can start out as a student and work your way through. As long as you pay dues for 30 years, you become a lifetime member. I see quite a few of you out there in the audience. You can also buy your way into lifetime membership if you want to prepay 30 years worth of, most of you probably don't have 30 years worth to pay, but if you want to do that, you can. You then get a discount on annual meeting. You never have to worry about renewing your dues. So again, I haven't seen Naresh either, but Naresh Agarwal and Abebe Rarisa are both lifetime members pre their 30-year, there you are, hello, pre their 30-year commitment. So that is an option. If you're interested in that, come see me and we'll make that happen. We've seen a big growth in our institutional membership this year. We have been working on finding new benefits and services for institutional members. We're really pleased with that. So if you're not aware of this, your institution, if it becomes a member, in addition to getting a handful of professional and PhD student memberships, gets as many free master's and bachelor's degree student memberships as you want. Your students can be a member for a year in ASIS at no cost to them or you. There's free interview space here at the annual meeting for them. We have an online directory of institutions that's targeted towards prospective students and a variety of other things that we do for our institutional members. So that's really a bargain. If you're interested in that, come see me again. And Welcome Wednesday is a new thing that we kicked off. Big thanks to Pamela Yonker, our Director of Membership, who hosts those. We alternate them between Wednesday mornings one month and Wednesday evenings the next month. And it's just a way for new members of ASIS who haven't got a clue how to get involved and access their benefits to learn about those things. And so it's a great way to engage new members right off the bat. As Crystal mentioned, we did close our office in Silver Spring this year. That was no small undertaking. I want to send out a big thank you to Deanna Hall, who I know is here too. Wave, Deanna. Okay, maybe she's not in the room. If you see her, thank her. Is she here? Oh, there she is. Hello. Thank you, Deanna, who served as our curator for 3 years and helped us sort and organize the very many documents that lived. We're an information association, so we hold on to every piece of paper that has ever passed through our hands. And they all needed to get sorted and figured out. And we did most of that work in the office, but then we boxed it all up, and 52 boxes got shipped to the University of Michigan, where thankfully somebody there is responsible for sorting them thoroughly and indexing them and telling us where we can find things when we need them. But that was really a big undertaking, and huge thanks to Deanna and the History Committee for making all that possible. New chapters in ASIS. So last year we announced the Oceania chapter, And they have now been up and running for a year. And this year, we're very excited to debut the Canada chapter. What a better place than here? Thank you, Brian Detler, for pulling that together. And for those of you that are Canadian and were able to come to the reception last night, fantastic event last night, sponsored by 7 institutions in Canada who put down some money to put quite a party on last night for our Canadian members. So that's very exciting to have a new chapter kick off in the country that's represented by it. So great news there. And then the U.S. West chapter, big thanks to Annie Chen, wherever you are, for agreeing to be our inaugural chair of that chapter. So those of you that have been around a while know we used to have a very active LA chapter and a very active Seattle, Washington-based chapter, or Pacific Northwest. But those have sort of petered out over time. And so we've consolidated it all down into a U.S. West chapter. And we're really excited because there's quite a decent size of membership in that area. I'm very excited to get that up and running. So I know that they're hosting an event here. So keep an eye out for that if that is your part of the world. And please get engaged with that. So priorities for us going forward from the things that we're going to be working on as staff, and you'll hear us talking about. The first one, of course, is the strategic plan that Ian just spoke about and that Maria Bond will be leading the process of developing. We as staff have the opportunity of being very engaged and involved in the discussion about what that's going to look like as well, because in the end, we and the committees are the people that are going to make it all happen. So we're excited to give input to that and hear from all of you what you want to have happen. We'll be doing a survey of members. The membership committee doesn't know this yet, but the membership committee will be doing a survey of members to get your sense of what you're valuing now and what sort of things you wish we could do at ASIS. And so that's going to be our biggest focus of the year. I talked a bit about the ABCs of ASIS last year. Our approach to diversity, equity, inclusion, access, et cetera, is to approach it as an access, belonging, and community perspective, because we really feel that is what meets the need of a very global membership the best. The ways that people feel involved and a part of within ASIS is because they have access to our services, which we work very hard on providing things not just between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern Time, U.S., but at other times around the globe. And as Ian mentioned, we're going to work much harder on providing things in other languages as well. We want to create a sense of belonging among the membership. We want it to be your professional home. And so in order to do that, you have to feel like you belong here. And so we're really working hard to make that happen. And by virtue of doing those things, we create a community of scholars and colleagues that will keep you coming back, we hope, year after year, so that we see you in the DC area next year, and then, of course, in Asia in 2026. As long as I'm saying that, let me mention that I skipped over a couple of very important things. Sorry, going back. Let me talk about my 26th thing and then I'll move back. So I just put a poll on the meeting app. I wasn't very good at it and I literally did it while I was sitting right there. We are looking at 2 different cities for 26 in Asia. One is Bangkok, Thailand. The other is Daegu, South Korea. We're going to put a poll out to the entire membership to ask their feelings, but a little straw poll while we're here would be useful. So if you have a second and can go into the app and just put in your preference for between those 2 cities, knowing nothing about costs of meetings or sleeping rooms or anything else, what's your gut reaction of where you would rather go to an annual meeting? That would be useful for us to know. Okay, back to my slides. So code of conduct and professional guidelines. The board tasked the governance committee this past year with developing a code of conduct for ASIS members, and they have given us a draft. We're going to do a little tweaking of the draft and come out with a final iteration of that probably in the next 12 or 4 weeks or so. And once that's finalized by the board, we'll share it with all of you and we'll ask you sort of to let us know if you have any concerns about it and you want to opt out of this code of conduct. Unfortunately, if you opt out of the code of conduct, you would be opting out of the association because this is going to be a standard that we're going to hold all of our members to. This is not anything challenging. This is be a nice person, play nice in the sandbox, and be a good colleague. So we just felt that, we've been around for 85 years and we've never really had this. So it might be a good time for us to have a code of conduct that we can hold ourselves accountable to. We already have one for the meeting itself, but we felt that a broader one for the membership was important. So you'll see that from us in the next several weeks. The most important thing, probably, that is probably on your mind, if you're aware of it, and if you're not, I'll tell you, is that on January 1st, our staffing model for ASIS is going through a transition. So we have hired and contracted with a association management company called Global Management Partners, and they're going to take over our non-executive staffing of the association. So they will be providing the staffing for member services and meetings and events and webinars and all the staffy things that you see us doing. This was a decision that the board made with a lot of input from me. And the reason for it is to help us grow. My phenomenal staff, which is sitting right here, all three of them, have done incredible yeoman's work over the last many years, keeping this place going. And we have, I think, done a great job keeping this place going. Thank you. But we have done it on a shoestring, and we've done it very much in a sort of, let's do the best we can with what we've got. And we feel like we've done a great job, but there's so much more potential for this association out there. And we need resources that we just could not afford to bring on as full-time staff members. We need people that can sell sponsorships and help build new educational events that, you know, require some knowledge of pedagogy and adult learning skills and that sort of thing. And we need people that can help us, you know, plan meetings in Asia. And there's just a whole variety of skills that I, as a small staff executive, was having a hard time accessing on a piecemeal basis. Going to an association management company allows us access to a staff of, you know, dozens of people who have a variety of different expertise. And if we need help making a logo, there's somebody there that can make a logo. And if we need help doing other things, they can do other things for us. And so we can access piecemeal talents of various people. This was not an easy decision to come to because, as I said, we have this fabulous staff of people that we love. But it was really a strategic decision that we came to, knowing that if we want to move ASIS to the next level and really up the bar, that this is something that we need to try doing. I'm happy to report that I think everybody's going to land happily on their feet. Pam is leaving us after this meeting to start a new job on Monday. Kathy's going to retire, and she's done, you know, such an amazing job with this meeting for 6 years now. This is your 6th meeting. That it's hard to imagine an annual meeting without her, but she has earned a happy retirement. And Garrett is going to work for Global Management Partners, where he will continue to be the managing editor of JSIST, ARIST, and Information Matters. So, you know, again, this is a tough decision to come to, but I really believe it's the right one for ASIS. We did not do this out of financial desperation or you know, a need to save the organization. As Chris told you, we had a really good bottom line this year. Fortunately, the U.S. stock market has been kind to us the last couple of years, so we've been able to do more with less. But I think there's just a lot out there that we can do, and our strategic plan is going to really push us to be advocates for our members, as well as for for information science in general, protecting the integrity of information and making sure that ASIS is at the forefront of intellectual thought on that topic and related topics of library and information science. So I think this is an exciting thing for us. We're certainly not going to lose touch with our beloved staff, and we're going to have an opportunity to cheer them on and recognize them tomorrow night. So again, be at the awards dinner. Very important. And then lastly, on this slide, education is going to be woven in as one of our pillars of interest in the strategic plan this coming year, really building in more, because our members are so at the crossroads of research and education, and it's very hard to divide those two things apart and not talk about how to teach the things that we're doing research on and should we be doing research on how to teach. It's all part and parcel of the same thing. So there's going to be more opportunities at annual meeting and elsewhere for you all to present on both research and education topics, and we welcome your input on how we can promote that as well. Okay, now I think I can go on to my next slide. So my thank yous. My thank yous. The ASIS board. Wow. And this is every year I say I've got the best board I've ever had, and then the next year it's the best board I've ever had, and it just keeps getting better and better. These people are so committed and dedicated and thoughtful, and I uh, I was on a really quick video chat with Megan Pfefferly, right? Pfefferly, who is going to be my number two in the association management company. And she's been on the board meeting and committee meetings up till now. And she said, wow, what a dedicated and committed and great board you have. She's like, they all get along. They like each other. It's really refreshing to work with a board like that. So let me tell you, we are so lucky here at ASIS to have what we have. Again, more than 700 volunteers in various and sundry capacities. We are a staff-run organization with a staff of volunteers that we couldn't possibly do any of this without, particularly the annual meeting. What a big commitment that is. And finally, I can't talk about them any more than I have already, but there are my three partners in crime who make it all possible. So if you would join me one more time in recognizing them, thank you. They're going to be so over-recognized by the end of the meeting. And that is it for me.